Conversation with an Alien God, Book 3, Chapter 11 and 12. Continuation. Will you tell me some things about the soul, please? Sure, I'll try to explain within your limited realm of understanding. But do not allow yourself to become frustrated if certain things don't make sense to you. Try to remember that you are bringing this information through a unique filter, a filter which has been designed by you to shield you from too much remembering. Remind me again why I did that. The game would be over if you remembered everything. Yeah, they don't want, because they say once the side people are remembering now, and that not many are waking up, because once they do, the game will be over. They will finish this chapter, this timeline right now, and recreate another. Okay, so that's why there's many people still not awakened, and that's by design. That's is already on purpose. You came here for a particular reason, and your divine purpose would be thwarted if you understood how everything is put together. Some things will always remain a mystery at this level of consciousness, and it's right that they should. So do not try to solve all the mysteries. Not at one time anyway. Give the universe a chance. It will unfold itself in due course. Enjoy the experience of becoming. Make it hasten slowly. Exactly. My father used to say that. Your father was a wise and wonderful man. Not many people describe him that way. Not many people describe him that way. Not many people knew him. Not many people knew your father. My mother did. Yes, she did. And she loved him. Yes, she did. And she forgave him. Yes, she did. For all of his behaviors that were hurtful. Yes, she understood and loved and forgave. And in this, she was and is a wonderful model, a blessed teacher. Yes, so will you tell me about the soul? I will. What do you want to know? Let's start with the first and obvious question. I already know the answer, but it gives us a starting point. Is there such a thing as the human soul? Yes. It is the third aspect of your being. You are a three-party being made up body, mind, and spirit. I know where my body is. I can see that, and I think I know where my mind is. It's in the part of my body called my head. But I'm not sure I have any idea where. No, it's not on the head alone. It's all over. It pervades all over. Wait a minute. Hold it. You are wrong about something. Your mind is not in your head. It isn't? No. Your brain is in your skull. Your mind is not. Where is it then? It's in every cell of your body. Wow! What you call the mind is really an energy. It is thought. And a thought is an energy, not an object. Your brain is an object, is a physical, biochemical mechanism, the largest, most sophisticated, but not the only mechanism in the human body, with which the body translates or converts the energy which is your thought into physical impulses. Your brain is a transformer, so is your whole body. You have a little transformer in every cell. Biochemists have often remarked at how individual cells, blood cells, for instance, seem to have their own intelligence. They do, in fact. That goes not just for cells, but for the larger part of the body. Every man on the planet knows about a particular body part that often seems to have a mind of its own. Yes, and every human knows how absurd man become when that's the body part they allow to influence their choices and decisions. Some humans use their knowledge to control man. The stupid human, there is the vamps. It's called the vamp, the nymphomaniacs. The human with no brains. So he's talking about the phallus here, the main phallus. That goes not just for cells, but for larger parts of the body. Every man on the planet knows about a particular bad part that often seems to have a mind of its own. Yes, and every human knows how absurd man become when that is the body part they allow to influence their choices and decisions. Some humans use their knowledge to control man, undeniable, and some man control human through choices and decisions made from that place. No, I guess that man controls woman through the wallet. You understand? For some humans, it's the wallet. Others is also through sex. Those who are financially independent, they are controlled via the emotional side. The men makes her, like, they manipulate them so much that they become emotionally slave to their man, and they know how to control her, how to psycho her into obey all his whims and fancies, or even by threaten them with violence if they shouldn't obey him. You know how it works. And either they will try to control women via money. They use the mechanism and the tool of money to control human. Some human use the knowledge to control. So through choice and decision made from them, undeniable. Want to know how to stop the circus? Absolutely. It's just think otherwise. Don't need that thing. Don't need sex. That's it. Don't need one another or nothing. Not for emotional support, not for sex, not for money. Just give up. Your best companion is yourself. When you know that, you understand that you are never alone. You may even be alone, but never lonely. This is what was meant earlier by all that talk about raising the energy of life to include all 7 chakra centers. When your choices and decisions come from a place larger than the limited locale you have described, it's impossible for human to control you, and the same goes for human, and you would never seek to control them. Yeah, that's true. The only reason that human would ever resort to such means of manipulation and control is that they have children, they need it financially, and they don't for some, they don't have another way other than be controlled by man. So it's an exchange, just like a prostitution. Is that there seems to be no other means of control, at least not nearly as effective. And without some means of control, man often become, well, uncontrollable. Yet, if a man would demonstrate more of their higher nature, higher chakras, more intellect, more intelligence, if you human would appeal more to that part of man, the so-called battle of the sexes would be over, as would most other battles of any kind on your planet. As I have said earlier, this does not mean man and human should give up sex, or that sex is part of a human being's lower nature. And it is, and they should. It means the sexual energy alone, when not erased to higher chakras and combined with the other energies, which is respect, is it? Understand it one another and unconditional needs. It means that sexual energy alone, when not erased to higher chakras and combined with the other energy that make one a whole person, not someone who have a half and need another half, produces choices and outcomes that do not reflect the whole person. These are often less magnificent. The whole of you is magnificency itself. Yet, anything less than the whole of you is less than magnificent. So if you want to guarantee that you will produce a less than magnificent choice or outcome, make a decision from your root chakra center only. Then watch the results precisely. If you make your choices based on your lower chakras or your low energy, then you gonna have a very bad result indeed, sooner or later. They are as predictable as can be. I think I knew that. Of course you did. The largest question facing the human race is not when will you learn, but when will you act on what you have already learned. So the mind is in every cell. Yes. And there are more cells in your brain than anywhere else. So it seems as though your mind is there, yet that is just the main processing center, not the only one. Good, I'm clear. So there is the soul. So where's the soul? Where do you think it is? Behind the third eye? No. In the middle of my chest, to the right of my heart, just beneath the breastbone? No. The soul is outside, I guess. Okay, I give up. It's everywhere. Everywhere. Like the mind? Oops, wait a minute. The mind is not everywhere. It's not? I thought you just said it was every cell of the body. That is not everywhere. There are spaces between the cells. In fact, your body is 99% space. This is where the soul is. The soul is everywhere in, through, and around you. It's that which contains you. So it is in, around, and through eyes. It permeates all over. Wait a minute. Now, you wait a minute. I always thought that the body is the container of my soul. Whatever happened to your body is the temple of your being. A figure of speech. It's useful in helping people to understand that they are more than their bodies, that there is something larger than they are. There is literally. The soul is larger than the body. It's not carried within the body, but carries the body within it instead. I'm hearing you, but still having a hard time picturing this. Have you ever heard of an aura? Yes, yes. Is this the soul? It's close as you can come in your language, in your understanding. To give you a picture of an enormous and complex reality, the soul is that which holds you together, just as the soul of God is that which contains the universe and holds it together. Wow, this is completely reverse of everything I ever thought. Hang on, my son, the reversals have just begun. But if the soul is in a sense, the air in and around us, and if everyone else's soul is the same, where does one soul end and another begin? Don't tell me. You see, you already know the answer. There is no place where another soul ends and ours begins. Just like there is no place where the air in the living room stops and the air in the dining room starts. It's all the same air. It's all the same soul. You are just discovered the secret of the universe. Because the atoms were everywhere, permeates everywhere. And if you are that which contains the universe, just as we are that which contains our bodies, then there is no place where you end and we begin. You can you can clear your throat all you want. For me, this is a miraculous revelation. I mean, I knew, I always understood this, but now I understand it. That's great. Isn't that great? You see, my problem with understanding in the past had to do with the fact that the body is a discrete container, make it impossible to differentiate between this body and that body. And since I always thought the soul was housed in the body, I therefore differentiated between this soul and that soul. Quite naturally, yes. But if the soul is everywhere, inside and outside the body, in its aura, as you put it, then when does one aura end and another begin? And now I'm able to see for the first time really in physical terms. Now it's possible that one soul does not end and another begin. And that is a physically true, that we are all one. Yippee! That's all I can say. Yippee! I always thought this was a metaphysical truth. Now I see that it's a physical truth. Holy smoke! Religion has become science. Don't say I didn't tell you so. But hold on there. Here, if there is no place where one soul ends and another begins, does that mean there is no such thing as an individual soul? Well, yes and no. And it's a truly befitting God. Thank you. But frankly, I was hoping for more clarity. Give me a break here. We are moving so fast. Your hand is hurting from writing. You mean furiously scribbling? Yes, so let's just catch our breath here. Everybody relax. I'm going to explain it all to you. Okay, go ahead. I'm ready. You remember how I've talked to you many times now about what I have called dichotomy. Yes. Well, this is one of them. In fact, the biggest one I see. It's important to learn about the dichotomy, and understand it truly if you are to live in our universe with grace. Divine dichotomy holds that it's possible for two apparently contradictory truths to exist simultaneously in the same space. Now, on your planet, people find this difficult to accept. They like to have order, and anything that does not fit into their picture is automatically rejected. For this reason, when two realities begin to assert themselves and they seem to contradict one another, the immediate assumption is that one of them must be wrong, false, untrue. It takes a great deal of maturity to see and accept that, in fact, they might both be true. Yet, in the realm of the absolute, as opposed to the realm of the relative in which you live, it's very clear that the one truth is all there is sometimes produces an effect to each viewed in relative terms looks like a contradiction. Oh gosh. But being this bipolar universe, in the 3D, the universe, this called divine dichotomy, or divine dichotomy. It is very real part of the human experience, and as I've said, it is visually impossible to live gracefully without accepting this. One is always grumbling, angry, thrashing about, vainly seeking justice, or earnestly trying to reconcile opposing forces which were never meant to be reconciled, but which by the very nature of the tensions between them produce exactly the desired effect. How so? If two opposite attracts, then to me, I guess that the purpose to create this universe this way is to look for conflicts or for things that for dramas, because the other side they feel that doesn't have such a thing, so they want to create drama in this quadrant of the universe. That's how I see it. I don't quite agree, but who am I to not agree? Do they ever care anyway if I agree or not? So the realm of the relative is in fact held together by just such tensions. As an example, the tension between good and evil. In ultimate reality, there is no such thing as good and evil. Yeah, but we're talking about this bipolar dual world and not any other. In ultimate reality, in the realm of the absolute, all there is love. Yet, in I don't know how do you see love. I don't understand how you see love. Do you see love in a relative way, in a opposite meaning of what love is for us here? I want to know that. Maybe this being see all opposite, love for them is hatred and vice versa. And the black is white and vice versa. Yet in the realm of the relative, you have created the experience of what you call evil. And you have done it for a very sound reason. You wanted to experience love, not just know it in theory. That love is all there is And you cannot experience something when there is nothing else but that. And so you created in your reality and continue to do so every day. A polarity of good and evil, thus using one so that you might experience the other. How is that we give you evil and get back good? Give good and you receive evil in return. What holy smoke, mean? What kind of word is that? And here we have a divine dichotomy or divine dichotomy. Two seemingly contradictory truths existing simultaneously in the same place specifically. There is such a thing as good and evil. All there is love. I don't know how you see as love. Thank you for explaining this to me. You have touched on this before, but thank you for helping me understand divine dichotomy even better. Divine dichotomy even better. You are welcome. Now, as I say, the greatest divine dichotomy is the one, or dichotomy is the one we are looking at now. There is only one being, and hence only one soul. And there are many souls in the one being. It's just like that, you know, that the Russian doll, where you have the biggest from the biggest, the tiniest nano one. That represents this dichotomy, this dichotomy. Here's how the dichotomy works. You have just had it explained to you that there is no separation between souls. The soul is the energy of life that exists within and around as the aura of, I guess the soul here is atoms. But because they want to create a word based on dogmas and all this and deceits, then they give this word as soul. I don't know. Soul is a program, it's a body made of photonics. All physical objects and sense is that which is holding all physical objects in place. The soul of God holding the universe, the soul of man holding each individual human being. The body is not container, a housing for the souls. The soul is a container for the body. That's right. Yet there is no dividing line between soul. There is no place where one soul ends and another begins. And a soul is really one soul holding all bodies. Correct. Yet the one soul feels like a bunch of individual souls. Indeed it does. Indeed I do by design. Can you explain how it works? Yes. While there is no actual separation between souls, it is true that the stuff of which one soul is made manifests in physical reality at different speeds, producing different degrees of density. So while there is no actual separation between souls, it is true that the stuff of which the one soul is made manifesting in physical reality at different speeds, produce different degrees of density. Means that if the atom is the soul that is being talking about here, okay, it haven't been explained back then in the 90s, but now must talk uh, straight to the goal, straight to the point, stop beating about the bushes. So what they are talking here is that if the atoms they vibrate very fast, they produce a kind of energy which is lighter, and the other part when they vibrate very slow, they produce a very heavy kind of negative effect and frequency. So different speeds. When did speed come in? All of life a vibration. All of life is a vibration. That which you call life, you could just as easily call it God. Okay, good. But it's not necessarily that it doesn't necessarily means that this being exists, but that is a soul, it's not soul, it's atoms, pure atoms. It's there in the quantum physics for us to understand. It's pure science. Quality God is pure energy. But people make religions out of it. Out of science, they made religions. And vibrating constantly, always, is moving in waves. The waves vibrate at different speeds, producing different degrees of density or light. This in turn produces what you would call different effects in the physical world. Actually, different physical objects, yet while the objects are different and discrete, the energy which produces them is exactly the same. Let me go back to the example that you used of the air between your living room and dining room. It was a good use of imagery that just popped right out of you. An inspiration from guess where? From guess where? Yes, I gave it to you. Now you say that there was no specific place between those two physical locations where the air of the living room stopped and the air of the dining room began. And that's true. Yet, there is a place where the air of the living room becomes less dense. That is, it dissipates, becomes thinner. So too the air of the dining room, the farther from the dining room you go, the less you smell dinner. Now, the air in the house is the same air. There's no separate air in the dining room, yet the air in the dining room sure seems like other air. For one thing, it smells different. So, because the air has taken on different characteristics, it seems as though it's different air. But it's not. It's all the same air. Seeming different in the living room, you smell the fireplace. In the dining room, you smell dinner. You might even go into one room and say, "Whew, it's stuffy. Let's get some air in here." As if there was no air at all. And yet, of course, there is plenty of air. What you are wanting to do is change its characteristics. So you bring in some air from the outside, that's the same air too. There is only one air moving in, around, and through everything. So what's his mean? He's going to go around the bushes because it's not time yet to divulge, disclose everything. So they make a mishmash of confusion. What they try to say here is that okay, they knew that they exist. So from there on, DC beings start to manipulate matter and manipulating creation. It's just like from suppose a milk. From the milk, the milk is good quality, is raw, full creamy milk. They can make with cakes, puddings, custard, margarine, chantilly cream, and they can make butter and many other things with it. Do you understand how it works? So from the atoms they have the atoms has created all there is, and what they did was just manipulate DNA to create things a bit different. It's just like, okay, I have at the end here, if I stone a rock, and then I'm gonna have a plant, a seed of a plant, and I see how it grows, how it becomes, whether it can work or not. Some of the experiments did work, others not so. You understand? Because they are masters and narcissists. So you bring in some air from outside, yet that's the same air too. Because the atoms, there is only one air, move in, around, and through everything. Yeah, the atoms tells that frankly, straight away. That's cool. I totally get this. I love the way you explain the universe to me in ways I can totally get. Well, thank you. I'm trying here, so let me go on, please. Like the air in your house, the energy of life, what we all call, not all, it's called God, called the soul of God. It takes on different characteristics as it surrounds different physical objects. Indeed, that energy coalesces in a particular way to form those objects. As particles of energy join together to form physical matter, they become very concentrated, mashed up, pushed together. They begin to look like, even feel like distinct units. That is, they begin to seem separate, different. Yeah, because they come away from the unit, from the nucleus, from all the other energy. Yet this is all the same energy, behaving differently. And this very act of behaving differently, which makes it possible for that which is all to manifest as that which is many. Just take for example, if you take a milk, okay, again, let's go for the milk metaphor, because milk is a wonderful food that you can make so many things of it, and you should not mistreat and um, treat the poor little cow with disrespect and cruelty towards them. Okay, so also when they are very skinny and frail and old, you just throw them like garbage or just kill them. That's so cruel, so very evil. I don't care what this being here say about relativities, about contradictory things and duality. I don't care. For me, it's simple evil and ungrateful. So let's go back to the parabolas, parables of the milk. The milk is liquid. Now um, you are mixing it in a very high speed. You mix it, is the all the molecules start to changes, right? Once you mix in high speed, they coalesce and they start to become more and more solid. They condensate, right? And then the more you process, the more speed and steam you do with that milk, the more solid it becomes. That's how we explain matters all over, atoms, etc. And um, if you put it back again in home temperature, what is gonna happen if you don't maintain that texture of the milk and the cream? It will become turning back to solid again. Oh, to liquid again, isn't it? So the same thing is the universe. If it's not maintained by other forces, it will turn again into a river of nothingness and a liquid again. So to create yet another frequency and another different matter, they have to keep on maintain and coalesce. Um, I mean, they must keep on steering. The boat can never stop. Understand? Row your boat and don't stop. So they be- so as explained in book 1, so is this very act of behave differently which makes it possible for that which is all to manifest as that which is many. So physical object indeed energy coalesces in particular way to form the subject. As particles of energy join together to form physical matter, they become very concentrated, mashed it up, pushed it together. They begin to look like, even feel like distinct units. That is, they begin to seem separate, different from all the other energy. Yet this is all the same energy behaving differently from the same source. It is this very act of behaving differently which makes it possible for that which is all to manifest as that which is many. As explained in the book 1, that which is could not experience itself as what it is until it developed this ability to differentiate. So that which is all separating into that which is this and that which is that. I'm trying to make this very simple now. The clumps of energy which coalesced into discrete units that held in physical beings are what you have chosen to call souls. The parts of me that have become the lot of you are what we are talking about here. Thus, the divine dichotomy, the divine dichotomy. There is only one of us. There are many of us. Wow, this is great. You are telling me. Shall I go on? No, stop here. I'm bored. Yes, go on. Yes, go on. Okay. Now, as the energy coalesces, the a guy one knowledge and when people gives him, he said, "I'm bored. Stop there." How to understand this man? Now, as the energy coalesces, it becomes, as I said, very concentrated. But the farther one moves from the point of this concentration, the more dissipated the energy becomes. The air becomes thinner, the odor fades, the energy never completely disappears because it cannot. It is the stuff of which everything is made, is all there is. Yes, it can become very thin, very subtle, almost not there. Then, in another place, read that another part of itself, it can again coalesces once more, clumping together to form what you call matter in what looks like a discrete unit. Now, the two units appear separate from each other. And in truth, there is no separation at all. This is, in very simple and elementary terms, the explanation behind the whole physical universe. Wow, but can it be true? How do I know I haven't just made this all up? Your scientists are already discovering that the building blocks of all of life are the same. They brought back rocks from the moon and found the same stuff they find in trees. They take apart a tree and find the same stuff they find in you. Hmm? That's correct. In the Chinese learning, they say that metaphysical learning, they say that our bones would be the trees, the wood, and I don't know what's the fire. The fire I don't know much, but the flesh would be what is the tree is the bone, and then comes the water, then the flesh maybe is the sand, and there's another part which I forgot to read by now, but I remember I have studied some time back about the composition of human regard to nature. So we have the fire, we have the water, we have the matter, which in Ayurveda, the Hindu Ayurvedas have kapha, pitta, and vata, vata, which correspond to the air, vata, the pitta, which the earth mixed with the soil mixed with water, very damp kind of substances. And then we have pitta, which is the fire, and each of us contain the substances within us. Then another place you read that another part of itself can coalesce on small clumping. Now as energy coalesces, it becomes, I said, very concentrated. But the farther one moves from the point of this concentration, the more dissipated the energy becomes. The air becomes thinner. The aura fades. The energy never completely disappears because it cannot. It's the stuff of which everything is made. It's all there is. It can become very, very thin, very subtle, almost not there. Then in another place, read that, another part of itself, it can again coalesce once more, clumping together to form what you call matter in what looks like a discrete unit. Now the two units appear separate from each other, and in truth there is no separation at all. This is very, very simple in elementary terms. The explanation is behind the whole physical universe. That's why humans have this aspiration to play with clay, and I introduce it to their children. Okay, plasticine, all this Play-Doh, and that one, the gelatinous one that use borax and other stuffs, the one gelatinous one represents the cryogenic creation, okay, which this beings uses to create new matter. Okay, when it clumps together and coalesces together, it swirls around to lower its energy, and it becomes material. So this is very beautiful, and it never ends. So just the idea of Play-Doh is to give us a glimpse of the creation from the atoms, the cosmos, etc. So now as energy coalesces, it becomes, as I said, very concentrated, but the farther one moves from the point of this concentration, the more dissipated the energy becomes. The air becomes thinner, the aura fades, the energy never completely disappears. Because it cannot. It's the stuff of which everything is made. It's all there is. Yet it can become very, very thin, very subtle, almost not there. Then, in another place, really that another part of itself, it can again coalesce, once more clumping together to form what you call matter, and what looks like a discrete unit. Now the two units appear separate from each other, and in truth there is no separation at all. It's an illusion. This is in very, very simple and elementary terms. Wow. But can it be true? How do I know I haven't just made it all up? Your scientists are already discovering that the building blocks of all life are the same. They brought back rocks from the moon and found the same stuff they find in trees. They take apart a tree and find the same stuff they find in you, which is the bone. And the clay, our flesh, is the soil of the earth. The water goes come in the air. There's also fire in us. You need to balance all those elements inside of us. We are all the same stuff. We are all the same energy, coalesced, expressed in different ways to create different forms and different matter. Nothing matters in end of itself. Really, indeed, is when we worry, when you think that everything matters. You see, so it becomes matter when you give thought to it. We care about it too much, then it matters. This means become matter. When you say it doesn't matter, that means it doesn't matter really. So it becomes insignificant. Nothing matters in and of itself. There is nothing can become matter all by itself. Jesus said, "Without the Father, I am nothing." Huh? The Father of all is pure thought. This is the energy of life. This is what you have chosen to call absolute love. This is the God and the Goddess, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Yeah, I know, the left and the right, up and down, black and white, yin and yang, the beginning and the end. It is the all and all, the unmoved mover, the prime source. It is that which you have sought to understand from the beginning of time, the great mystery, the endless enigma, the eternal truth. There is only one of us, and so it is that which you are. Chapter 12. I'm filled with awe and reverence at the reading of those words. Thank you for being here with me in this way. Thank you for being here with all of us. For millions have read the words in these dialogues, and millions more will yet do so. And we are breathlessly gifted by the coming of you to our hearts. My dearest beings, I have always been in your hearts. I'm only glad you can now actually feel me there. I have always been with you. I have never left you. I am you, and you are me. And we shall never be separated, ever, because that's not possible. Yet on some days I feel so terribly alone. At some moments I felt that I'm fighting this battle by myself. Me too, I'm all alone, but I don't care. So what? Being alone, being lonely is not being alone. Sometimes you are lonely, but you are not alone. And sometimes you are alone, but you are not lonely. So it's all relative to what you put matters to what you care. It's all relative to what you care, what matters you put into it. So that's because you have left me, my child. You have abandoned the oneness of me. Yet, where there is oneness of me, you can never be alone. Well, I'm never alone, but I am sorry, I don't have religions. I don't think of a God, but I'm not alone, and I feel like I'm always with somebody. I feel people around me that I cannot see, but I feel them around me. I'm never alone. I'm going out in the parks at night, 2 a.m. can be midnight, after midnight, 2 a.m. I come back. I feel nothing. I feel that I'm never alone. I feel things following me. Some good, some not good, but I don't care either way because I believe in what will be, I'm not scared. Well, we are here to die. We are not here to live forever. So, well, that's because you have left me, my child. So how can I stay my word and see? Bring your word and see to others. Not by proselytizing, but by example. Exactly. Exactly. Be the source of the love which I am in the lives of all others. For that which you give to others, you give to yourself. Because there is only one of us. Thank you, yes, you have given me that clue before. Be the source. Whatever you want to experience in yourself, you have said. Be the source of it in the lives of others. Yes, this is the great secret. This is the sacred wisdom. Do unto others as you would have it done unto you. Sadly, sometimes we go out of the line and we do other things. Or sometimes we do good things to people and people do the opposite. It's relativity. So once not to get abused, we kind of stop. All your all of your problems, all of your conflicts, all of your difficulties in creating a life on your planet of peace and joy are based in your failure to understand this simple instruction and to follow it. Yeah, look at the rationale. Putão, puti putão. I get it. Once more, you have said so plainly, so clearly that I get it. I will try never to lose it again. You cannot lose that which you give away. Always remember that. Thank you. May I ask you a few more questions now about the soul? I have one more general comment to make about life as you are living it. Please. You just say that there are times when you feel as though you are fighting this battle by yourself. Yes. Yeah, me too, but I'm not scared. What battle? The battle of survival, the battle of being here in the body in this planet, of course. It was a figure of speech. I think not. I think it was a real indicator of how you and many people really think of life. You have it in your head that is a battle, that there is some kind of struggling going on there here. Well, depends where we are. Let's be here, let's be realistic. Depends on where you are. Well, it seems that the way to me sometimes it's not that way inherently, and it doesn't have to seem that way ever. You forgive me, but that's hard for me to believe. That's why it's all relative, depends where we are, with who we are. Which is exactly why it hasn't been your reality. For you will make you real what you believe is real. Yet I tell you this. Your life was never meant to be a struggle, and it doesn't have to be now or ever. I have given you the tools with which to create the grandest reality. You have simply chosen not to use them. Who say some of us didn't? Most of us have mind, body, and everything, but the luck is just not there. Or to be more accurate, you have misused them. The tools I'm referring to here are the three tools of creation. We have talked about them much in our ongoing dialogue. Do you know what they are? Yeah, of course, the body, the mind, the thoughts and actions. Thought, word, and action. Good. You have remembered. I once inspired Mildred Hinckley, a spiritual teacher of mine, to say you were born with the creative power of the universe at the tip of your tongue. Yeah, that's correct. Words, thought, actions, but sometimes we cannot act because we are afraid to hurting something else that is under our tutelage and under us subordinate to us, and we don't want to hurt that being, and we sacrifice for them. That is a statement of astonishing implications. I say this truth from another of my teachers. As thou hast believed, so be it done unto you. These two statements have to do with thought and word. Another of my teachers had this to say about action. The beginning is God, the end is action. Action is God creating or God experienced. You say that in book 1. Book 1 was brought through by you, my son, just as all great teachings have been inspired by me, and are brought through human forms. Those who allow such inspiration to move them, and who fearlessly share them publicly, are my greatest teachers. I'm not sure that I would put myself in that category. The words you have been inspired to share have touched millions. Millions, my son. They have been translated into 24 languages. They have reached around the world. By what measure would you grant the status of great teacher? By the measure of one's actions, not one's words. Correct. It's truth. That is a very wise answer. And my actions in this lifetime do not speak well of me, and certainly do not qualify me as a teacher. You have just written off half the teachers who have ever lived. What are you saying? I'm saying what I said through Judith Scammon in A Course in Miracles. You teach what you have to learn. Do you believe that you must be demonstrating perfection before you can teach how to reach it? And while you have made your share of what you would call mistakes, more than my share, you have also shown great courage in bringing this conversation with me forward. Oh, grateful hardness! Why do you insist on put yourself down like that? You all do it, every one of you. You deny your own greatness as you deny the existence of me and you. Not me, I have never denied that. What? Well, not recently. I tell you, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. Every thought of yourself as smaller than you really are is a denial of me. Every word about yourself that puts you down is a denial of me. Every action flowing through yourself that plays out a role of not good enough or lack of or insufficiency of any kind is a denial indeed. Not just in thought, not just in a word, but in deed. I really do not allow your life to represent anything but the grandest versions of the greatest vision you ever had about who you are. Now, what's the greatest vision you have ever had for yourself? It's not that you would one day be a great teacher? Well, isn't it? Yes. Then so be it, and so it is, until you once again deny it. I won't deny it again. You won't? No. Prove it. Prove it? Prove it. How? Say right now, I'm a great teacher. Go ahead, say it. I am, you see, the problem is all of this is going to be published. I'm aware that everything I'm writing in this legal pad is going to appear in print somewhere. People in Peoria are going to be reading this. Peoria? Huh? Try Beijing. Okay, China too. That's my point. People have been asking me, bugging me about book 3 since the month after book 2 came out. I've tried to explain why it's taken so long. I've tried to get them to understand what it's like having this dialogue when you know the whole world is watching, waiting. It's not like it was with book 1 and book 2. Both of those were dialogues conducted in a void. I never even knew they would be books. Yes, you did. In your heart of your hearts, you did. Well, maybe I hope they'd be, but now I know, and it's different right on this legal pad, because now you know everyone will be reading every word you write. Yes, and now you want me to say that I'm a great teacher, and it's difficult in front of all these people. You want I should ask you to declare yourself in a private? Is that how you think you empower yourself? I asked you to declare who you are in public precisely because you are in public here. The whole idea was to get you to say it in public. Public declaration is the highest form of visioning. Live the grandest version of the greatest vision you ever had about who you are. Begin the living of it by declaring it publicly. Publicly. The first step in making it so is say it so. But what of modesty? What of decorum? It is similarly to declare our grandest idea about ourselves to everyone we see. Every great master has done so. Yes, but not arrogantly. How arrogant is I am the life and the way? Is that arrogant enough for you? Now you said you'll never deny me again. Arrogant is I am the life and the way? Is it that arrogant enough for you? Now you said you never deny me again, yet you have spent the last 10 minutes trying to justify in doing so. I'm not denying you. We are talking here about my greatest visions of me. Your greatest vision of you is me. That is who I am. When you deny the greatest part of you, you deny me. And I'm telling you, before the dawn tomorrow, you will do this 3 times. Unless I don't. Unless you don't, that's right. And only you can decide. Only you can choose. Now, do you know of any great teachers who was ever a great teachers in private? The Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, all were teachers in public. No? Because he thinks that he's less than those masters teacher. Yes, but there are great teachers who are not widely known. My mother was one. You just said it so earlier. It's not necessary to be widely known to be a great teacher. Your mother was a harbinger, a messenger, a preparer of the way. She prepared you for the way by showing you the way. Yet you too are a teacher. And as good a teacher as you know your mother to be, she apparently did not teach you never to deny yourself. Yes, this you will teach others. Oh, I want to so badly. That's what I want to do. Do not want to. You may not have what you want. You merely declare that you are in a want of it. And that's where you will be left. You will be left wanting. Alright, okay, I don't want to. I choose to. That's better. That's much better. Now, what do you choose? I choose to teach others never to deny themselves. Good. And what else do you choose to teach? I choose to teach others never to deny you, God, because to deny you is to deny themselves. And to deny themselves is to deny you. Good. And do you choose to teach this haphazardly, almost by chance, or do you choose to teach this grandly, as if on purpose? I choose to teach it on purpose grandly, as my mother did. My mother did teach me never to deny myself. She taught it to me every day. She was the greatest encourager I ever had. She taught me to have faith in myself, and I knew I should be such a teacher. I choose to be such a teacher of all the great wisdoms. I don't know, this book sounds like a kind of psychology that is an imposition in people's mind. I feel like that. My mom taught me she made her whole life a teaching, not just her words. That's what makes a great teacher. You're right. Your mother was a great teacher, and you are right in your larger truth. A person does not have to be widely known to be a great teacher. I was testing you. I want to see where you would go with this. And did I go where I was supposed to go? You went where all great teachers go, to your own wisdom, to your own truth. That's the place to which you must always go, for it's the place you must turn around and come from as you teach the word. I know, this I know. And what's your own deepest truth about who you are? I am a great teacher of internal truth. There you have it. Calmly said, softly spoken. There you have it. You know the truth of it in your heart, and you have only spoken your heart. You are not boasting, and no one will hear it as boasting. You are not bragging, and no one will hear it as bragging. You are not beating your chest. You are opening your heart, and there's a big difference. Everyone knows who they are in their heart. They are a great ballerina, or a great lawyer, or a great actor, or a great force baseman. They are a great detective, or a great salesperson, or a great parent, or a great architect, a great poet, or a great leader, a great builder, or a great healer. And they are, each and every one, a great person. Everyone knows who they are in their heart. If they open their heart, if they share with others their heart's desire, if they live their heartfelt truth, they fill their world with magnificency. You are a great teacher, and where do you suppose that gift come from? You. I think who's saying that is a mother jaguar, is a kind of in Tahiti is a female. And she's, I don't know whether she could be that the Orion Queen, who knows. And so when you declare yourself to be who you are merely declaring who I am. Always declare me as a source, and no one will mind you declaring yourself as great. Because I don't know whether Jehovah is not Jehovah, not Jehovah at all. I believe it's a mother jaguar. It's called herself a mother jaguar. It's a female energy. Yet, you have always urged me to declare myself as source. You are the source of everything I am, the great teacher with whom you are most familiar in your life. Said, I am the life and the way. He also said, all these things come to me from the Father. Without the Father, I am nothing. And he also said, I am the Father, I and the Father are one. Do you understand? There is only one of us, exactly. Which brings us back to the human soul. Can I now ask some more questions about the soul? Go. Okay, how many souls are there? One. Yes, in the largest sense, but how many individuations of the one there is? All the infinite is infinite. Say, I like that word there. I like the way you have used the word. The one energy there is, all energy individuates itself into many different parts. I like that. I'm glad. So how many individuations did you create? How many souls are there? I cannot answer that in terms you would understand. Because actually he didn't create at all. It was the atoms. Try me. It's a constant number, a changing number. The aliens cannot even say that. They are not certain because there's many multiverses out there which have not yet been explored, been conquered. been found. Try me, it is a constant number, changing number, an infinite number. Have you created a new soul since the original batch? Yes, it's a constant number. Yes, it's a changing number. Yes, it's an infinite number. Yes, I have created new souls. And no, I have not. How now to understand this dichotomy or dichotomy? Yes, it's a constant number. Okay. Yes, it's a changing number. It's an infinite number. Yes, I have created new souls. Okay, infinite number. For this is constant. It's an infinite number. It's a constant number. And it's a changing number. I have created new souls, and no, I have not. So it have created new souls, and chat it have not. I don't understand. I know. So help me. Did you actually say that? Say what? So help me, God. Ah, clever. Okay, I'm going to understand this. If it is the last thing I do, so help me, God. I don't know. I don't know. One thing is so desperate to be called God. I really look at that. I don't understand. I know. The guy say I don't understand. Then the being say I know. The guy say so help me. Then the being, did you actually say that? Then the guy say what? So help me God. The being answered. Ah, clever. Okay, I'm going to understand this if it isn't the last thing I do. So help me God. I will. You are well determined, so I will help you. Although I warn you that it's difficult to grasp or understand the infinite from a perspective that is finite. We will nevertheless give it a will. Couldn't see. Yes, goodness, well, let's begin by noticing that your questions infer that a reality exists called time. In truth, there is no such reality. There is only one moment, and that's the internal moment of now, and it can be very tedious and boring indeed. All things that have ever happened are happening now, and ever will happen are occurring in this moment. So everything is now that we don't see because we are constricted with the vision of time and the vision in space. Nothing has happened before because there is no before. Nothing will happen after because there is no after. It's always and only right now. In the right now of things, I am constantly changing. The number of ways in which I individuate, I like your word, is therefore always different and always the same, given that there is only now. The number of souls is always constant. But given that you like to think of now in terms of now and then, it's always changing. We touched on this earlier when we spoke of reincarnation in lower life forms and how souls come back. Since I'm always changing, the number of souls is infinite. Yet, at any given point in time, it appears to be finite. And yes, there are new souls in the sense that they have allowed themselves having reached the ultimate oneness and unified with ultimate reality. So since it's always changed, the number of souls is infinite. Yet at any given point in time, it appears to be finite because it has end. it does end in the physical form. Everything dies and then it reforms again. And yes, there are new souls, which are the soul that reach what the Hindu calls nirvana. It melts back to the cosmos. It is have a second death. It explodes, it expires, atoms, molecules, diffuse, something like that. Okay, this is I'm explaining, not the book. I'm explaining. So the fusion is go back to source. It can stay there how long you want, how long. And at the times it could be 1 year, 1 month, doesn't matter. You take a rest, and then when you come back new, refreshed. That's what's called 0 point. Okay, it's me telling this, not the book. It's called 0 point. When they come back refreshed, so they go to start it all over again. Their earlier character dies. Their avatar, as they knew it, the incarnations, all complete. They go back, they rest, then they return again from the source to play. And the game's over, wanna play again? The machines asks. So, since I'm always changing the number of souls, okay, and yes, there are new souls in the sense that they have allowed themselves having reached the ultimate oneness and unified with the ultimate reality to voluntarily forget everything and start over. They have decided to move to a new place on the cosmic wheel, and some have chosen to be young souls again. Yet all souls are part of the original batch, since all are being created, were created, will be created in the only moment of now. Now, not before, not after. So the number is finite and infinite, changing and unchanged, or constant and inconstant, depending on how you look at it, depending on what reality we are. Because of this characteristic of ultimate reality, I am often called the unmoved mover. I am that which is always moving and has never moved, is always changed and has never changed. That's crazy. Not even me, who have a good understanding, is able to sometimes grasp. I have to ponder a lot and analyze in order to grasp and concept and digest all this and absorb it. Because of this characteristic of ultimate reality, I am often called the unmoved mover. I am that which is always moving and has never moved, is always changing and never changed. Okay, I get it. Nothing is absolute with you, except that everything is absolute. is This is the same kind of behavior like in some kind of people who I'm not gonna tell the name here, but this kind of people that if you do is wrong, don't do also is wrong. When you do a thing for them is wrong, don't do also is wrong. So nothing is correct. You understand? Because they don't want to hear your version of the story. They are only interested in their versions. Unless it's not. Exactly, precisely. You do get it. Bravo. Well, the truth is, I think I have always understood this stuff, this concept. Yes. Except when I haven't. That's right. Unless it's not. Exactly. Who is on first? No. What's on first? Who is on second? Ta-da! You are a boat and I'm Costello, and it's all just a cosmic vaudeville show. Except when it's not. There are moments and events you may want to take very seriously. Battle of Star Wars, battles, concealed battles, invisible battles that you don't see. Poetic. Unless you don't. So returning once again to the subject of what they say here. I don't know, something here that has been already erased. Boy, there's a great book title there, The Subject of Souls. Maybe we'll do that one. Are you kidding? We already have. And a God talk about, are you kidding? Unless we haven't, that's true. Unless it's not, you never know. Except when you do. You see, you are getting this. You are remembering now how it really is, and you are having fun with it. You are returning now to living lightly. You are lightening up. This is what is meant by enlightenment. And then they thought enlightenment was something so serious and something so much more emphatic and something that you must imperative, but it's something like, well, you must take it with a cup of a cup of tea and a bit of sugar, a pinch of sugar. Very cool, which means you are hot. Yup, that's called living within the contradiction. You have talked about it many times. Imagine if you got a contradicting, to who can we rely on? Now, getting back to the subjects of souls. What's the difference between an old soul and a young soul? A bar of energy, that's to say a part of me, can conceive of itself as young or old depending upon what it chooses after it reaches ultimate ordinancy, which is merging with the cosmos. When they return to the cosmic wheel, some souls choose to be old souls and some choose to be young. Indeed, if the experience called young did not exist, neither could the experience called old. So some souls have volunteered to be called young, and some to be called old. I'm an old soul. So that the one soul, which is really all there is, could know itself completely. Similarly, some souls have chosen to be called good and some bad, for exactly the same reason, and this is why no soul is ever punished. For why would the one soul want to punish a part of itself for being a portion of the whole? It's just like slap one hand with another and pulling one finger with the other. This is all beautifully explained in the children's story book, The Little Soul and the Sun, which lays it out simply for a child to understand. You have a way of putting things so eloquently, of articulating terribly complex concepts so clearly that even a child can understand. Thank you. So here comes another question about souls. Are there such things as soul partners or soul mates? Yes, but not the way you think of them. What's different? You have romanticized the soul partner to mean the other half of you, the other half of the orange. In truth, the human soul, the part of me that individuates, is much larger than you have imagined. In other words, what I call the soul is bigger than I think. What I call the soul is bigger than I think. Much bigger. It's not the air in one room, it's the air in one entire room, house. And that house has many rooms. The soul is not limited to one identity. It's not the air in the dining room. No, that's the soul is split into two individuals who are called soul partners. It's not the air in the living room, dining room combination. It's the air in the whole mansion. And in my kingdom, there are many mansions. And while it's the same air flowing around in and through every mansion, the air of the room in one mansion may feel closer. You might walk into those rooms and say, it feels close in here and there. So that you understand then there is only one soul. Yet, what you call the individuated soul is huge, hovering over, in, and through hundreds of physical forms. At the same time, there is no such thing as a time. I can only answer this by saying yes and no. Some of the physical forms enveloped by your soul are living now in your understanding. Others individuated in forms that are now what you would call dead. The dead is one. And some have enveloped forms that live in what you call the future, which is called cryogeny. It's all happening right now. Of course, and yet you contrivancy called time serves as a tool, allowing you a greater sense of the realized experience. So there is no such thing as a time. I can only answer this by saying yes and no. Some of the physical forms enveloped by your soul are living now in your understanding. Others individuated in forms that are now what you call dead. That means your ancestral. Don't be clear. Make confusion about understand. Now I have to break all these analogies. When they say that individuated form of files that are now what you would call dead are our ancestors who are dead from long time ago, and some have enveloped the forms that live in what you call the future. There are others, is our descendants, our great grandchildren to come. Okay, I'm trying to break it. It's all happening right now, of course, and yet your contrivancy called time serves as a tool allowing you a greater sense of the realized experience. So, these hundreds of physical bodies my soul has enveloped. That's an interesting word you used. Are all my soul partners? No, they're ancestral, and your descendants and ancestral. Antecedents, antecedents or ancestrals and descendants. See what he says, huh? The guy asked this. So these hundreds of physical bodies, my soul has enveloped. That is an interesting word you have used. All are my soul partners? No, they are your pieces of yourself, it's your ancestrals. And I will be your descendants. That's closer to being accurate than the way you have been using the terms. Yes, but see, he don't explain. He doesn't explain, doesn't clarify. And some of my soul partners have lived before. Yes, as you described it, yes, but he never said as our ancestral, great lineage parents. Wow, hold it. I think I just got something here. Are these parts of me that have lived before what I would now describe as my former life as former life as what you call your individual lineage, family lineage. So I'm here to break it down for you. Good thinking. You are getting it. Yes, some of these are the other lives you have lived before, and some are not. And other parts of your soul are enveloping bodies that will be alive in what you call your future. I'm gonna explain now this again. What happens is that when a person dies, goes to this realm there below the earth, which is a factory, okay, is a ethereal astral factory, fourth dimension. And what happens there, they take pieces of you to mend and make a very mishmash of astral bodies part or the causal bodies part, and then they modify this, modify that, and they create other kind of what they call soul, other kind of causal body, and then they put it inside a body, a physical body, and they shoot inside a machine, and there you go, through your mother birth canal. That's how I can break it. Then the same or not, in other parts of your soul are enveloping bodies that will be alive in what you call your future selves. And still others are embodied in different forms, live on your planet right now. Which is our brothers, sisters, okay? Brother, sister, mother, father, grandparents, uncles, aunties, part of our children, was part of them, not fully, but part of them, our children, grandchildren. When you run into one of these, you may feel an immediate sense of affinity. Sometimes you even say, we must have spent a past life together. And you'll be right. You have spent a past life together, either as the same physical form or as two forms in the same space-time continuum. Wow, this is fabulous. This explains everything. Yes, it does. Except one thing. What's that? How about when I just know that I have spent a past life with someone? I just know it. I feel it in my bones, and yet when I mention this to them, they feel none of this at all. What's that about? It's about your confusing the past with the future. Mm. Huh? You have spent another life with them. It's just not a past life. Huh? It's a future life. Precisely. It's all happening in the internal moment of now. And you have an awareness of what in a sense has not yet happened. Haven't happened in our timeline. Then why don't they remember the future too? These are very subtle vibrations, and some of you are more sensitive to them than others. Also, from person to person is different. You may be more sensitive to your past or future experience with one person than another. This usually means you have spent that other time as the part of your very huge soul enveloping the same body. Whereas when there is still that sensation of having met before, but just not as a strong of one, it may mean that you have shared the same time together, but not the same body. Perhaps you will be husband and wife, brother and sister, parent and child, lover and beloved. So these are very subtle vibrations. Some of you are more sensitive to them than others. Also, from a person to person is different. You may be more sensitive to your past or future experience with one person than another. This usually means you have spent that other time as the part of your very huge soul enveloping the same body. Whereas there is still that sensation of having met before, but just not as a strong of one. It may mean that you have shared the same time together, but not the same body. Perhaps you were for or will be husband and wife, brother and sister, parent and child, lover and beloved. Oh, they are talking here, the large soul that they are talking here is the eu maior. Each one of the items is each family lineage is a God self. Uh, I am self. This is what he's talking about. So this I am self is responsible for breaking to many parties and become a family lineage. These are strong bonds and it's natural that you would feel them when you meet again for the first time in this life. If what you are saying is true, it would account for a phenomenon for which I have never before been able to account. The phenomenon of more than one person in this lifetime claiming to have memories of being Joan of Arc or Mozart or some other famous persons from the past. I have always thought this was proof for those who say that reincarnation is a false doctrine. For how could more than one person claim to have been the same person before? But how I see how this is possible. But now I see how this is possible. All that has happened is that several of the sentient beings now being enveloped by one soul are remembering, becoming members once again with the part of their single soul which is now Joan of Arc. Good heavens, this blows the lid off all limitations and makes all things possible. The minute I catch myself in the future saying, that is impossible, I know what I am doing is demonstrate that there is a great deal I don't know. That's a good thing to remember, very good thing to remember. And if we can have more than one soul partner, then it would explain how it's possible for us to experience those intense soul partner feelings with more than one person a lifetime and even more than one person at a time. Indeed, polygamy. So it serves you right, isn't it, Mills? Anyways, I'm not sure about this reincarnation thing. Might be that something else is putting their lifetime to you, or they are playing our relatives' lifetime. They put into us since we are all linked to a same through a same I am self, higher God. So what happens that we are living our ancestral lives, not even ours. Indeed, then it's possible to love more than one person at a time. Of course. No, I mean with the kind of intense personal love that usually reserved for one person or at least one person at a time. Why would you ever want to reserve love? Why would you want to hold it in reserve? Because it's not right to love more than one person. Their way is a betrayal. Who told you that? Everybody tells me that. My parents told me that. My religion told me that. My society tells me that. Everybody tells me that. Oh, so these cultures and this religion who implements bigamy, polygamy is right after all. No, right for them because for me it's not right for them. These are some of the sins of the Father being passed on to the Son. Your own experience teaches you one thing, that loving everyone full out is the most joyful thing you can do. Yet your parents, teachers, ministers tell you something else, that you may only love one person at a time. That way, and we are not just talking about sex here. If you consider one person as special as another in any way, you are often made to feel that you have betrayed that other. Why should I betray another when I'm not interested in another, when I am dedicated to that person? What's wrong and be dedicated to that person and be, how to say, royal to that person? Not say royal, but he's very loyal to that person. What's so wrong in being loyal? I don't see how people go around, play the field and bring disease to one another.
cannot play with sex, you know. There is diseases out there to teach us otherwise. Right, exactly. That's how we have got it set up, and then it's a favor more males. Males now think that they can play the field because the stupid human that allows it to happen. Stupid humans so desperate that they give all of themselves to this man. Then you are not expressing true love, but some counterfeit variety. To what extent will true love be allowed to express itself within the framework of the human experience? What limits shall we indeed, some would say, must we place on that expression? If all social and sexual energies were to be unleashed without restriction, what would be the result? No, you don't need even to think. Look at around. Unwanted pregnancy, rapes, broken marriage, children with broken heart, okay? And veneral disease, that's once the bonus, the desert for you. Veneral disease, syphilis, Camellandia, is it how it's called? Gonorrhea, that one, syphilis, and many others terrible hepatitis that can get from sex, AIDS, and many others. And a beautiful parasite also you can get. That parasite jumps from that person during sex to another, from contact. You want to play the field? Go around. Go around. Men go wrong when they take this book like this directly without thinking. You don't want to believe that? Go around and see. Were to be unleashed without restriction, what would be the result? Is complete social and sexual freedom and the abdication of all responsibility or the absolute height of it. Any attempt to restrict the natural expression of love is a denial of the experience of freedom. And that the Luciferian says that always. And that's a denial of the soul itself. For the soul is freedom personified. God is freedom by definition, for God is limitless and without restriction of any kind. You see, God there, he's referring here is the atoms. The soul is God miniaturized, therefore the soul rebels at any position of limitation. That depends what that soul wants, and dies a new death each time it accepts boundary from without. No. You have to, sometimes you have to treat our body like a stubborn machine. Sometimes you need to give some knock in the head to function. I'm not saying even an animal because animal is a sentient being. I'm talking about machine. Sometimes you have to give them some shake, some bang on the computer screen or the monitor for them to work. So the same thing is our body. We just cannot allow and are free this ungoverned horse. Because once you do that without the reins, it can cause havoc as it walk, and it can goes down straight to a deep river and get stuck in the mud. If they don't die, at least they'll become stuck. In this sense, birth itself is a death. A death, a birth. For in birth, the soul finds itself constricted within the awful limitations of a body, and at death escapes this constriction again. It does the same thing during sleep. Back to freedom, the soul flies and rejoices once again with the expression and experience of its true nature. Yet, can its true nature be expressed and experienced while with the body? That's the question you ask, and it drives to the very reason and purpose of life itself. For if life with the body is nothing more than one prison or limitation, then what good can come of it, and what can be its functions, much less its justification? Yes, I suppose that is what I'm asking, and I ask it on behalf of all beings everywhere who have felt the awful constriction of the human experience. See, and I'm not speaking now of physical limitations. I know you're not, but emotional, psychological ones. Yes, I know, I understand. Yet your concerns all relate to the same larger questions. Yes, alright, still let me finish. All my life I have been deeply frustrated by the world's inability to let me love everyone in exactly the way I wanted to. When I was young, it was about not talking to strangers, not saying things inappropriately. I remember once walking down a street with my father. We came across a poor man begging for coins. I immediately felt sorry for the man and wanted to give him some of the pennies in my pocket. My father stopped me and brushed me past. Trash, he said. Just trash. That was my father's label for all those who did not live up to his definition of what it meant to be humans of worth. Later, I remember an experience of my older brother who was no longer living with us, not being allowed into the house on Christmas Eve because of some argument he had with my father. What stupid father this man had. I loved my brother and wanted him to be with us that night, but my father stopped him on the front porch and barred him from entering the home. Poor thing. How this poor man took this to his grave, I guess. This sorry and heartbreak. This is the worst thing, not be buried from see the parents who they love. My mother was devastated. It was her son from a previous marriage. What kind of you woman is that? Why must we annul ourselves and our children for another man? I would never allow that. I would go to with my son. And I was simply mystified. How could he not love or want my brother on Christmas Eve simply because of an argument? What kind of disagreement could be so bad that it would be allowed to ruin Christmas, when even wars were suspended for 24-hour truce? This my little 7-year-old heart begged to know. As I grew older, I learned that it was not just the anger that stopped the love from flowing, but also fear. This was why we ought to talk to strangers, but not just when we were defenseless children, also when we were adults. I learned that it was just not okay to openly and angrily meet and greet a stranger, that there was certain etiquette to be followed with people to whom you have just been introduced, none of which made sense to me. I wanted to know everything about that new person, and I wanted them to know everything about me. But no, the rules said we had to wait. And now, in my adult life, when sexuality enters into it, I've learned that the rules are even more rigid and limiting, and I still don't get it. I find that I just want to love and be loved. Sex is not love. That's just I want my love to love everyone in whatever my feels natural to me, in whatever ways feels. Yet some society has its rules and regulations about all this. So rigid are they that even if the other person who is involved agrees to experience it, if society doesn't agree, those two lovers are called wrong and are just doomed, or they call what they call adulterous. What is that? What's that all about? Well, you have said to yourself, fear is all about fear. Yes, but anti-fear is justified. Anti this restriction and constriction only appropriate given the behaviors of our race. A man meets a young woman, falls in love or in lust with her, and leaves his wife, for instance, I use only one example so that she is left with the kids and no employment skills at 39 or 43, or WestJet left high and dry at 64 by a 68-year-old man who become enamored with a younger woman than his daughter. Stupid male. It is your supposing that the man you describe has ceased to love his 64-year-old wife? Of course, yes. Now, come on. If this man have any even self-respect and self-love, he would never do this kind of thing to other person. Leave her when she needed him the most. Well, he sure acts like it. No, it's not his wife he does not love and seeks to escape. It's the limitations he feels placed on him. Oh, nonsense. It is last, pure and simple. He's an old gazer simply trying to recapture his youth. Yeah. Stupid Peter Pan man wanting to be with a younger woman, unable to curb his childish appetites and keep his promise to the partner who has remained with him through all the tough and lean years. Of course, you have described it perfectly, Chet. Nothing you have said has changed a thing that I have said individually. In virtually every case, this man had not stopped to love his wife. It's the limitation his wife places on him, or those placed on him by the younger woman, who will have nothing to do with him if he stays with his wife, that creates the rebellion. The point I'm trying to make is that the soul will always rebel at limitations of any kind. That is what has sparked every revolution in the history of humankind, not just the revolution which causes a man to leave his wife or a wife to suddenly leave her husband, which by the way also happens, of course, a lot. Surely you are not arguing for the complete abolition of behavioral limitation of any kind. That would be behavioral anarchy, social chaos. Surely you are not advocating people having affairs or take my breath away, open marriage. I do not advocate or fail to advocate anything. I mean not for or against anything. The human race keeps trying to make me a for or against kind of a God, and I'm not that. I'm merely observe what so. I simply watch you create your own systems of right and wrong, for and against, and I look to see whether your current ideas about that serve you, given what you say you choose and desire as a species and individuals. Now, to the question of open marriage, I'm not for or against open marriage. Whether you are or not depends upon what you decide you want in and out of your marriage. And your decision about that creates who you are with regard to the experience you call marriage. For it is, as I have told you, every act is an act of self-definition. When you're making any decision, it's important to make sure the right questions is being answered. The question with regard to the so-called open marriage, for instance, is not shall we have an open marriage where sexual contact by both persons outside the marriage is allowed. The question is who am I and who are we with regard to the experience called marriage. The answer to that question will be found in the answer to life's largest question. Who am I, period, with regard to anything? In relationship to anything, who am I and who do I choose to be? As I have said repeatedly throughout this dialogue, the answer to that question is the answer to every question. God, that frustrates me because the answer to that question is so broad and so general that it answers no other questions. Oh, really? Then what is your answer to that question? According to these books, according to what you seem to be saying, this dialogue, I am in love. That's who I really am. Excellent, you have learned. That's correct. You are love. Love is all there is. So you are love. I am love, and there is nothing which is not love. What about fear? Fear is that which you are not. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is the opposite of love, which you have created in your reality so that you may know experientially that which you are. This is what is true in the relative world of your existence. In the absence of that which you are not, that which you are is not. Yes, we've been through this a number of times now in our dialogue, but it feels as though you have invaded my complaint. I said that the answer to the question of who we are, which is love, is so broad as to render it a no answer. It's no answer at all to almost any other question. You say it is the answer to every question, and I say it's not the answer to any, much less to one of the specific answers. Should our marriage be an open marriage? If that's true for you, it's because you do not know what love is. Does anybody? The human race has been trying to figure that one out since the beginning of time, which does not exist. Which does not exist. Yes, I know it's a figure of speech. Let me see if I can find using your figures of speech some word in some ways to explain that love is super. That's be great. The first word that comes to mind is unlimited, that which love is unlimited. Well, we're right where we were when we opened the subject. We are going around in circles. Circles are good. Don't berate them. Keep circling. Keep circling around the question. Circle is okay. Repeating is okay. Revisiting, restating is okay. I sometimes get impatient. Sometimes that's pretty funny. Okay, go on with what your words say. You will say. Love is that which is unlimited. There is no beginning and no end to it. No before and no after. Love will always was, always is, and always will be. So love is also always is the always reality. Now we get back to another word we said before, freedom. For if love is unlimited and always, then love is free. Love is that which is perfectly free. Now, in the human reality, you will find that you always seek to love and to be loved. You will find that you will always yearn for that love to be unlimited. And you will always find that you will always wish you could be free to express it. You will seek freedom, unlimitedness, and internality in every experience of love. You may not always get it, but that's what you will seek. You will seek this because this is what love is, and at some deep place you know that. Because you are love, and through the expression of love, you are seeking to know and to experience who and what you are. You are life expressing life, love expressing love, God expressing God. All these words are therefore synonymous. Think of them as the same thing. God, life, God, life, love, unlimited, eternal, free. Anything which is not one of these things is not any one of these things. You are all of those things, and you will seek to experience yourself as all of these things sooner or later. What does that mean sooner or later? It depends on when you get over your fear. As I've said, fear is false evidence appearing real. It is that which you are not. You will seek to experience that which you are when you are through experiencing that which you are not. Who wants to experience fear? Nobody wants to. You are taught to. A child experiences no fear. He thinks he can do anything. Nor does a child experience a lack of freedom. She thinks she can love anyone. Nor does a child experience a lack of life. Children believe they will live forever, and people who act like children think nothing can hurt them Nor does a child know any ungodly things until the child is taught ungodly things by grown-ups. And so children run around naked and hug everyone, thinking nothing of it. If adults could only do the same thing. Well, children do so with the build of innocency. Adults cannot get back to that innocency because when adults get naked, there's always that sex thing. Yes, and of course God forbid that sex thing. Be innocent and freely experience it. Actually, God did forbid it. Adam and Eve were perfectly happy running around naked in the Garden of Eden until Eve ate of the fruit of the tree, the knowledge of good and evil. Then you condemned us to our present state, for we are all guilty of that original sin. I did no such thing. I know, but I had to give organized religion a shot here. Try to avoid that if you can. Yes, I should organize that religionists have very little sense of humor. Yes, I should. Organized religionists have very little sense of humor. There you go again. Sorry. I was saying, you will strive as a species to experience a love that is unlimited, eternal, and free. The institution of marriage has been your attempt at creating eternality. With it, you agreed to become partners for life, but this did little to produce a love which was unlimited and free. Why not? If the marriage is freely chosen, isn't an expression of freedom? And to say that you are going to demonstrate your love sexually with no one else but your spouse is not a limitation, it's a choice. And a choice is not a limitation. It's the exercise of freedom. So long as that continues to be the choice, yes. Well, it has to be. That was the promise. Yeah. And that's where the trouble begins. Help me here. Look, there may come a time when you want to experience a high degree of specialness in your relationship. Not that one person is more special to you than another, but that the way you choose to demonstrate with one person the depth of your love you have for all people and for life itself is unique to that person alone. Indeed, the way you now demonstrate love to each person you do love is unique. You demonstrate your love not to two people in exactly the same way because you are a creature and a creator of originality. Everything you create is original. It's not possible for any thought, word, or action to be duplicative. You cannot duplicate, you can only originate. Really? I think that people can duplicate. Do you know why not two snowflakes are alike? Because it's impossible for them to be creation. It's not duplication, and the creator can only create. That's why no two snowflakes are alike. No two people are alike, no two thoughts are alike, no two relationships are alike, and no two of anything are alike. The universe and everything in it exists in singular form, and there truly is nothing else like it. This divine dichotomy again, divining dichotomy again, everything is singular, yet everything is one. Exactly. Each finger on your hand is different, yet it's all the same hand. The air in your house is the air that is everywhere, yet all people one is not the same but feels markedly different. So everywhere in the room is not the same but feels markedly different. It's the same people, all people one, yet no two people alike. You could not therefore love two people in the same way, even if you tried. And you would never want to because love is a unique response to that which is unique. So when you demonstrate your love for one person, you are doing so in a way in which you cannot do so with another. Your thoughts, words, and actions, your responses are literally impossible to duplicate. One of a kind, just as is the person for whom you have these feelings. If the time has come when you have decided this special demonstration with one person alone, then choose it as you say, announce it and declare it. Yet, make your declaration and announcement moment to moment of your freedom, not your ongoing obligation. Correct. That's correct. For true love is always free, and obligations cannot exist in the space of love. If you see your decision to express your love in a particular way, with only one particular other as a sacred promise, never to be broken, though day may come when you will experience that promise as an obligation, and you will resent it. Yeah, that's true. Yet, if you see this decision not as a promise made only once, but as a free choice made over and over, that day of resentment will never come. Remember this, there is only one sacred promise, and that is to tell and live your truth. All other promises are forfeitures of freedom, and that can never be sacred, for freedom is who you are. If you forfeit freedom, you forfeit yourself, and that's not a sacrament, that is a blasphemy. And if that's the end of chapter 12.